Welcome back to Play on Gamers with your host, Yariv, Wolok, and my partner in crime. We have not seen each other for what seems to be almost 90 days. Ben Silverman. Ben, what's going on, buddy?
Yariv, welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's been a while. We
yes.
missed you.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, totally missed you as well. For those who are not aware, we had one episode probably over the past 3 months.
Yeah.
Where we were kind of doing this weekly. So I disappeared to Israel for 2.5 months, and I was just kind of like living. And we tried to do one episode, but the hour differences and our schedule, it
was like 13 hours, something like that.
No, it's 7
hours. Yeah.
It's 7 hours, but with you having a baby, and the fact that we're both so busy, it was just a nightmare. I remember the one episode we did, we were both like exhausted on different spectrums.
I know, yeah. It was like midnight for me, and you had just woken up.
Morning, like
neither of us wanted to be there.
It was like 5 a.m.
Yeah, but we still got through it.
Yes,
but I think after that we were both like, all right, let's just chill until we're both on the same time zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this episode, because quite frankly, we put it together pretty quickly. We're not going to be doing a big news section like we normally do. That is not going away necessarily, but we just didn't have time to really plan
3 months
of
news we haven't talked about. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of news that we missed, so we're just going to kind of start clean, and we're going to talk about what we've been playing primarily. But let me talk about, I do have some video game relevant stuff from Israel.
Yeah, I'm curious about your time over there. Different culture, different everything.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that was me. So one, I played my Switch the entire time. We're going to get into it because I actually got a new one today as we're recording this. But I was on my Switch the entire time I was there, and my iPhone primarily. And I also had my MacBook. So I also had to search for games that were only playable on Mac.
Interesting. Okay.
And not only that, a Mac that's not powerful enough for gaming. So I was playing some games as well on PC. Well, not PC, on Mac. But aside from that, before I get into that, like just living in Tel Aviv or whatever, for those who are not aware, Tel Aviv is like very much a tech city. It's almost like the San Francisco of Middle East. Like it's
very modern city. People think of Israel and they think of like desert, or like they're thinking of Jerusalem when they think of Israel, I think.
Yes.
But then, Tel Aviv is a modern city.
Yes, and even Jerusalem is more modern than most people. Well, there's like the ancient sites, but then like in there is just like these brand new malls that they built like
it's
right
been
next
a very
to the
long
Western
time
Wall.
since I've been there.
Yeah, so Israel modernizes like pretty fast, but Tel Aviv is like a startup central. It has the second most amount of startup companies in the world behind San Francisco. So that is primarily like tech companies. So I mentioned this before, but my cousin has a video game company that he started with a few partners.
Give him a plug. Israel. What's the name?
So the name of the company is called Candyvore, and the name of the game is called Matchmasters. I do want to get him on our podcast at some point. It is the 85th most profitable free-to-play game in the world right now. Put that perspective for people. It might not sound like a very high number. Like Ben, I think you kind of get it.
No, yeah. You think about how much these free-to-play games make.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna disclose any numbers that I do know. And Ben, I told you a little bit, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna expose that on camera. But let's just say he is very successful now. This game makes a ton of money daily. It's only a team of about 35 to maybe 40 employees at this point.
That's a big team, though, for a small company.
It is, but that also includes like contractors and freelancers and stuff like that. But that actually grew over the past like year. So before that, it was much smaller. I think that they were like a 12 or something like that. So they've been growing exponentially. So that was cool. I worked out of there quite a bit. And just to be like in a video game environment. And I did get to play a virtual reality game. And I brought this up to you. That's being developed by one of his friends. This guy was like a partner that he used to have. So now he's working VR because there's so much stuff going on there. So I got to play. Hopefully makes it. I don't remember what the name of the game is, but it's kind of like a brick breaker meets like man, it's like Space Pirate Trainer meets Tetris meets Three in a Row meets what's that beat game? I actually Beat Saber. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's like a combination of all that stuff
Okay.
together, and you like shoot boxes to like blow three in a row. And he has like this wide. Anyway, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I got to play test that too, but it was cool to be in a video game environment. It's just like a really tech city. So Ben, you didn't get a chance to play that game though, right? The free because we don't play free to play games like you and I.
No, I haven't taken a look at it. But some of the pictures you were sending me from the workspace that you had, and I asked you, I'm like, are you all eating a meal together? Like everyone was together, and it just seemed like a really cool. It reminded me of like when you see like Google and Facebook and like all them, where they're all in like a big, like a communal space, and they're all just like downtime is downtime, and then work is.
Well, it's funny that you say that because their office is actually the old Microsoft office. So Microsoft, I guess they built like a building because they're fucking Microsoft.
Yeah.
But they work out of the WeWork there. So they I guess rent out like they have the largest space in the WeWork.
Yeah, it's like co-op or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have that there too. But dude, their day is like, I mean, I'm not saying people don't work hard,
no,
but like it's definitely like you're not talking about crunch.
No, but so like
they're building a product
just because
exists.
they're working, like people mistake hours put into quality of work.
Correct.
Like I'd rather 3 hours of really quality work that somebody's passionate about and puts their whole heart into than 8 hours where they're just trying to punch the clock and get by. So
absolutely, and they have fun at work. Like like they have like the Nerf guns everywhere. Like there's food everywhere.
That's important, man.
Yeah,
it's really important.
Well, especially because you're making games.
Yeah.
And if it's not fun, it's like quite frankly, it's the game's not going to be fun.
Right.
And the one cool thing that was it was cool to learn is that they actually weren't that profitable until they brought somebody else in who specializes in monetization. And he said they literally took their profitability up like 1,000%.
Yeah, you need somebody who understands the business side of things. Yeah.
So yeah, just to like, I guess hit home for me that like it wasn't just the game itself. Like they already built a game with like a larger audience, but once they learn to monetize properly, man, like you start to understand like why these loot boxes and all this stuff exists, because these things are probably the fine line between some of these games like being profitable, like immensely profitable, and on the brink of getting shut down by like Activision.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like when you get mad about like loot boxes and all these predatory tactics, it's like a lot of these things are just because like these teams are trying to survive, because it's a really ruthless.
If people were willing to pay $1.99 for a game these days on a phone, then you wouldn't have this stuff. But people aren't. Correct. They see 99 cents. They're like, screw that. I'll go play Cash of Kings or what, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because it's like there is this like weird. I remember I was like complaining about Apple Arcade.
Yeah, you and I like the premium games.
Yeah,
like
Oh my god, I vastly prefer that. But like, there's this weird space that like Switch kind of lives in. Where it's like Switch is like this kind of device that's like could be a free to play device, successful at it too as well. But it's more premium. But then they have these little free to play things in there. And then like the bigger consoles have that stuff too. But like what really drives the bigger consoles is the premium. But then there's the free to play stuff. It's like all mobile. And if you try to do premium on there, it's not that it'll fail, but the likelihood of it succeeding won't. So there's like this weird expectation. And it's like I don't know where VR lands with that. But like one thing I thought about it, like, so I have Smash, right? And to get the characters in Smash Brothers, they just announced. So there's a piece of news. So like they just announced the last character, which is gonna be Sora for Kingdom Hearts, and I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to have Sora, and I'm like, oh, maybe I could just pay the $30 season pass. I did not do my research because it's like 5 season passes at $30 a piece.
Really?
To get all the characters on Smash Brothers, something like that.
That's crazy.
Either that or $6 a character.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, okay, I'm already paying $60 for the game, and then you want me to
because the games never drop in price on Switch.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're still paying $60.
Yeah, and do you see what I'm meaning? Like, and now there's this weird like, oh, you have to like earn the characters within the game. So it's not like you get all of them. You have to like unlock them, right? So then, you unlock characters, which is fun, but then I'm like, okay, I want Sora and I want Cloud. And I'm like, what package do I buy? I
This
was
is
like,
crazy.
I think honestly, it's kind of completely unacceptable.
$25 for the first pack and then $30 for the second. It's ridiculous.
No, there should be, I think there's 3 volumes or something like that.
And then there's the Challenger pack. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's all kinds of packs.
I didn't even understand what I was looking for.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I was like, I just want Sora and Cloud. I was like, I'll even pay $12 or whatever for the 2 characters, but it's still a ripoff. But anyway, so that was cool. Israel was very cool. Spent a lot of time with family. Went on some dates as well, but nothing too special there. But like, just like lived. Just like live with my cousin, worked out a lot.
I didn't know if you were gonna come back. If you didn't have your dog here, I don't think you would have come back.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I would either. Yeah, but that's.
I knew you brought your mom and sister down there too. Now they're still over there, right? Or is your sister still over there?
My mom is now renting a place there for the next year, and my sister is there for the next 2.5 months.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So yeah. Well,
I'm international.
Mo, I love you, but stay here so that you don't take my friend away.
Yeah. It's difficult. Definitely, my mom definitely wants to move there, but
I'm sure
that is stressing me out just thinking about it. To be honest with you, because a big part of me like wants to like Tel Aviv is an amazing city, and that's where I would live. And but I don't know, man. Like I love America too.
Been here longer than you were there.
And to be honest with you, like. The thing that you and I enjoy the most, which is like video games and tech stuff, it's more expensive there. Like everything.
Well, yeah, that's the way it is around the world.
Yeah, like games are $80 to $100 a piece. The consoles are like 20 to 40% more expensive.
Yeah, tariffs on everything.
It's fucking pain in the ass. Though I will say, digital kind of gets rid of all of that. Like I was buying games. Well, I was buying.
You have an American account.
Yes, that's true. But I was buying games on the Switch, and I was paying American prices. And I went to like the duty free shop and I looked and I saw like Breath of the Wild, $85. And I'm like,
but no duty.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but still $85. Go fuck. I was like, is that shekels? What the hell is that shit?
I don't even know what the conversion rate is anymore.
It's 3.3.
Okay.
It used to be 4, but our economy, I guess, officially sucks.
Yeah, officially.
Yeah. So anything new in your life, and maybe explanation of why we've done less stuff?
Yeah, I mean, my son's getting bigger and running around. And my video game time has been severely limited.
Yes.
Basically in mornings and late nights, but not so much late nights anymore. Mostly if I wake up at 5 a.m. and I've got an hour to kill. Work's been nuts. We're doing a project that's 3 years in the making, so bringing that to a close. But yeah, nothing as crazy as running off to a foreign country for a couple months.
Yeah, well, I bet that Steam Deck though is going to be exactly what you need.
Can't wait, especially after seeing the benchmarks that came out. It can do 720p 60 for a lot of games. Yeah,
man, the early like previews have been very hype. I was considering like selling mine, like just getting it and be like, I don't know if I really need it. After like hearing the reviews, I'm like, I'm keeping this fucking thing.
Okay. I definitely don't need it, but I'm 100% keeping it.
Well, like being in Israel made me realize like, God damn, I wish I had a PC gaming machine.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be able to play like my Steam library, like, and that's kind of what I was talking about with the Mac issue. Like there were games that just wanted to play at a high frame rate or just really enjoy it and play with a controller, and I just didn't have him. We were playing Sea of Thieves.
Yep.
And again, I don't know if full capability of Steam Deck, but they said it's gonna be pretty open.
Oh, it can play Sea of Thieves 60.
Exactly. And like if we could have been playing Sea of Thieves, like come on, dude.
Do you try streaming it all? Or is the internet not good enough?
No, I didn't try it all, honestly.
That would have been a good time.
There are
talked about it, but not bring any content to the table. That's cool.
Yeah, well, I played other things, but yeah, it's upsetting that we didn't get to play any Sea of Thieves because we were definitely on a roll, and that game is the fucking shit.
I know. Yeah, we got to get back to it. There's been some DLC since you've been gone, so additional stuff. Yeah.
Well, maybe you can talk about that on here.
I haven't played it. Don't know anything about it, so we're not going to.
Okay, cool. So we don't know shit.
I know it
So
exists.
again, we're super prepared for this episode, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. So
let's move on. Do you want to talk about your new purchase, your new acquisition?
well, let's talk about the one thing I
Okay.
just want to mention this ahead of time. And again, this is more because we brought it up as a piece of news, but it wasn't confirmed at the time that we did this. But as of the other day, finally confirmed that PlayStation has bought Blue Point. Again, we're not going to go through a bunch of news happening around, but wanted to bring this up because we talked about it. We talked about it as if it was done news because, obviously they had a leaked image, like congratulatory, and then they didn't announce it. My guess is that the deal wasn't 100% finalized. Like it was probably a handshake deal.
Yeah, there was something got hung up at the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. And they're probably just waiting to get it, to get it finalized. But I personally think it's exciting. I was listening to Sacred Symbols on this. It seems like Blue Point's gonna be working on a brand new game. Right. Now they didn't say a new IP necessarily, right? But they said a brand new game that they're not doing a remake. My thought is, like the Sacred Symbols guys were kind of confused by it. I think it makes complete sense. I think they wanted the talent. I think they wanted to keep the studio away from Microsoft potentially purchasing it from underneath, because Microsoft's trying to buy everything under the sun. And I think a team that's done such a great job, kind of remastering games, I think they kind of earned it. And I think that was probably part of the deal.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, they're tired of doing these remakes. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're not tired, but
they probably they could probably do another remake in the future if they really want to. Like they can grow as a studio, because they've been hitting home runs, and you don't think that like there's something out there that Sony probably has in the backlog that they're like, okay, well, why don't you guys take a crack at this IP that we have? Like, I'm just throwing something out. Like, I think bringing back Resistance would be a really good idea. This has come up before. They just don't have a shooter. Like Sony doesn't have a shooter. Or could they make a new one?
They own Insomniac. If anybody's going to do it, they were going to do it.
I mean, you would think, but they're not doing it.
They're not the same, and they're not the same studio that made. There's probably like 5 people that are still around.
Right, exactly. But I'm just throwing out an idea.
But acquisition, I mean, it makes sense. It makes 100%, and they probably got them cheap. Same way they got Insomniac cheap. I mean, they make smart purchases because they don't have the capital that Microsoft has. I mean, Microsoft bought ZeniMax for more than Sony is worth, I think. Yes. So they don't have that kind of cash. They got to make their smart plays, and I think this is a good one. They've done well.
Yeah, I think it's a good one too. And I think the one thing that, like, the way I would think of it if I was in charge of, like, I guess Sony Studios, like acquisitions, I'd be thinking about, like, I want the talent. Like, I want the engineers that they have that are rock stars, right? Because these guys are not as easy to find as people think, because you can, like, hire people based off their resume and they might actually not be as good as they advertise themselves. Yeah. But you already know that these guys have talent. And I think it's the same reason why Microsoft bought Bethesda. Yes, they wanted the IPs. Very obvious. But they were having trouble. Like, they screwed up all of their studios. Oh, yeah. They're doing much better now, but they destroyed their entire talent pool. Yep. Right? They had to probably go out and spend a ridiculous amount of money. I know you're going to mention Halo because I know you got to try it.
I did.
But it seems like they're finally fixing what's going on with Halo, right? And that took years of damage, right? So I think that a lot of these companies are realizing, like, hey, we need to acquire talent, keep that talent, give them freedom to make cool shit so they're happy. Let them work from home, let them do all this shit, and just keep making gold. Because everything is an IP game, as we're seeing. That's why exclusivity seems to be a thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And they've clearly got the talent. Everything they made, it's high quality. Every remake, I mean, they're the gold standard in remakes. They're known for that. So they've clearly got great engineers, great coders, artists. Yeah.
And we don't have this written down, but I guess it's kind of popping up in my head now. So there's also a launch of Amazon's new game. What is it, like New World, right? Mm-hmm. I think it had 900,000 simultaneous concurrent players, which I think is a record.
It is.
Yes. I do know they have server problems, but you got to figure with that kind of success, I don't think the game is probably not that great, especially
not a paid game too.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, it's a paid. It's not a free to play, which makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, and they went MMO. So it is impressive. And you figure Amazon with their money, like they're going to acquire some talent as well. And then you think about what Netflix is doing. I think Netflix just bought a studio as well. I forget the name of the studio. But it's definitely like a game to acquire studios and acquire IPs. So don't love it.
They had 913,600 concurrent.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they estimate 10 million owners.
Wow. And that's a home run.
Yeah. And that's a $40 game, I think. So
I mean, it's not great for the purchasing of stuff, but when Amazon sets up a new studio and they I like that it makes Sony and Microsoft and all these companies a little nervous that there's a new player, right? Like, it's good. It's good.
Everything I hear about this game is, it's good.
It's not for us.
No, it's definitely not for us.
We don't care.
No.
But
as long as it doesn't melt any more video cards, I'm happy with
that. Was that happening?
Yeah. There's a news story when the beta came out a few months ago that it was melting EVGA 20 or 3090s. So there's a cut for the story I read. I don't know how accurate this was. I'm pretty sure it is, though, is that the menu was running at an uncapped frame rate, the menu system. So with a 3090, it was basically rendering the menu like 6,000 frames a second.
Oh yeah.
And there was some kind of manufacturing defect in the 3090s that normally wouldn't have come to light, but I guess it was making so many calls to the video card that it just overheated and started melting the solder.
Oh my God. And that's like a $1,500 video
card. They replaced
them.
EVGA replaced every single one.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, that's okay. That's a good story. All right. So let's move on to new hardware. We're gonna skip skip the news part. I have a thing about KOTOR, but we'll talk about that later when I talk about what we're playing. So Switch OLED just came out. Reviews are in, pretty solid reviews, and I went out and picked one up.
That screen looks so much better,
dude. So I'll be honest with you, it definitely is.
I know.
Overall, the build quality, the screen itself is considerably better.
Yeah.
I do feel like the objects on the screen move clear as well. Like I know the video card's the same and everything, but there's just some kind of visual difference for sure. Definitely things are brighter. The color, the dynamic range of the color is definitely higher.
Yeah. Black's gonna be blacker, bright's gonna be brighter.
Yes.
It's the nature of an OLED. Yeah.
This obviously is a godsend in comparison to this stupid fucking stand.
Should have been there to launch.
Yeah. What a horrendous stand that was. The buttons are a little bit different, but definitely the build quality overall is just better. Like I could just feel it in my hand. The screen bezel, it's a sleeker looking device. So GameStop, and I want to give a shout out to the GameStop employees today because the manager, they sold me a pre-ordered copy that I did not pre-order, that somebody did not pick up and abandoned, and they searched extra for me, and I definitely wasn't supposed to be able to get one today. GameStop, for all their faults, are doing an amazing trade-in deal. They gave me $260 store credit for my 4-year-old Switch,
really,
which I paid $300 for. So I lost $40 in value on it. It's $350 for the new one. So I upgraded to the new one. It ended up being like $110 with tax. I already had like $250 store credit there. So I spent store credit, didn't cost me anything out of my pocket. And so again, fucking Nintendo. I didn't have the online package. So obviously the cloud saving wasn't available. So the manager, God bless his heart, spent like 45 minutes working with me in that system, in that store. So I didn't lose Breath of the Wild. I didn't lose any of the save content. Now, if you do, for anybody who listens to this, if you do this, just pay for the online prior or do the free trial and just transfer your files and they'll download immediately. But I am an idiot and thought that the SD card that I have in there will also have the save files, because I'm like, all right, I have 128 gigabyte. No, because why would it?
First
Why
Nintendo
would it?
system, huh?
Why would it work that way? Because I'm an idiot, and
You
I'm
didn't
like, this is the.
transfer everything.
I know. So, and the worst part is like everything had to update. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
obviously there's like a day one patch, and then the transfer. But he, again, God bless this guy. I even took the time to do a survey for them and gave.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
they were like super nice. Like he
Throw 'em a
helped me
Google
out.
review. Yeah.
Yeah, they like really, really killed it. So that's the GameStop here in Aramingo in Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, so give them a shout out because they're awesome. Go buy stuff from them because they're really sweet people. So yeah, the OLED's pretty cool, man. We're gonna get into the Steam Deck in a minute. I realized while I was in Israel, I don't have much of a use for the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond, like, I looked for games to play.
Yeah.
Like I really did. And the only thing that piqued my interest was like Final Fantasy, which I didn't end up buying. FIFA, which again is a rehashed version.
Do not buy FIFA.
I bought it for $10.
Do not give them your money.
I bought it for $10, the 2021 version. I would never pay the full price for that shit. But it's absurd. They just released the exact same. I mean, I will say it's a slight graphical improvement, but there's almost no difference at all. No, there is no difference in the game. It's just they just a slightly tweaked engine. And then Legend of Zelda. I bought Skyward Sword. I got to the point where I stopped a long time ago, and again I stopped playing it. Something about Skyward Sword, I cannot finish that game. Like, I don't know what it is, but like I lose interest in it.
Do you think it's because it's not that good of a game?
Yes. No, I really do. I think the game is beautiful. I think there's some really quirky, awesome stuff to it. There's a problem with the pacing. There's like a real problem with the pacing of that game, and I don't think that they figured it out. I think Breath of the Wild does not have that problem, but Breath of the Wild doesn't have, like, if they really, like, I'm so hoping Breath of the Wild 2 solves this, because like somewhere in the middle where like there is some great storytelling stuff in Skyward Sword that Breath of the Wild needs, but like Breath of the Wild is a far superior game. Just overall, the mechanics, the way you play. Like, I found myself being like, I just really want to play Breath of the Wild. And I actually ended up going back to Breath of the Wild and playing Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So I was playing that. And then, well, I'll go into what I was playing there. But I essentially invested in this because it was cheap for me to upgrade relative to me. Like I said, it didn't cost me any money. But the new screen is really beautiful, and there is a new Breath of the Wild coming out. So I'm like, okay. I was like, I'll get the best experience of whatever it is I play. And I did buy Final Fantasy 12 as well for Switch recently. So, I mean, I'll get into that into what we're playing. But I would recommend it. I would recommend the console for the little bit of time I spent with it.
I think we can skip over the Steam Deck stuff until we have some more to talk about. But your Oculus Quest, that big hit. I saw some Snapchats of you or
yes,
Facebook stuff.
So the reason I brought this up, I had my sister bring it later actually because I forgot it, and I just wanted to give everybody like a world. Like they even have like a VR spot in Herzliya in Israel. Like there's like VR. The VR exists there. Like you can get the Oculus Quest 2 and everything, but it's just not as common amongst like regular people. So I like went around and showed it to all my family, and dude, it is amazing. This thing still blows people away. Like I just put it on their head. I put it on kids, and dude, I had kids fighting over it. Like literally, they could barely even understand what was going on. I'm talking about like little kids. And they were just like, I want it now. No, I want it now. No, dude, nonstop. Space Pirate Trainer, the shooter, everything.
Space Pirate Trainer is always what I put people in first.
Yeah, because it's like the easiest to digest. Yeah. Well, I guess there is an update to Space Pirate Trainer. I don't know if we want to talk about that as well.
We're not gonna have time for that.
Nah. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was really cool to give people the device and just kind of show people that it was like, it's still awesome. And what we're looking at is pretty old piece of technology at this point, the Quest 2. Like you can build a VR device that is so far superior to what we're using I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be affordable to the average person.
Yeah,
Like,
well, it wouldn't be $299.
yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
like,
yeah,
you can probably, I would imagine. I know there's one. I watched a video review of one that's like, I think it costs like $1,000 a month. Plus it's like, I think it's like 5 to 10 or it's like 10 grand for this thing. And like literally the level of fidelity is like
sure.
absolutely insane. And it does AR and VR. And again, obviously it's not a great like end user device, but you put 5 years in the future, you might be paying $1,000 for a dope headset that is
Mm,
like,
I think the ship has sailed on premium headsets after the Quest. I mean, the Quest 2 comes out, 299,
yeah.
high quality games, portable. Like you brought it to Israel, no setup, no nothing. Just put it on your
Yes.
head, draw an outline, good to go. Like I think the days of premium VR is over. I think it's over.
Well, what do you think is going to happen with the PSVR?
I mean, that's going to be tethered to the PlayStation 5, but it's still using the processing power of the PlayStation 5. Um, I mean, the PlayStation 5 VR 2 is really the best chance PC people and like have of getting some premium VR games. Because I mean, the VR space, they're the premium. I mean, you see it with Resident Evil VR. It's only coming out for Oculus Quest 2. They're not even developing it for the PC.
Did,
So
did that come out yet?
I don't
I
think
saw
so.
okay, I saw the
Yeah,
commercial. I think
soon.
it's the end of the month, right?
I think it might be
21st.
well, yeah. So
I
it's
think
very soon.
um I did see a commercial for it on TV too.
Really?
Yes, during football.
Oh, football
Um
Americana.
yeah. So yeah, no, but it was really cool. It was cool cuz when I worked at Comcast back in the day, I got to do a lot of VR demos. And then obviously I bought the Oculus and I gave a bunch of people demos and it was cool to do it again with the Quest 2 and just pop it on people's heads,
Yeah.
you know?
I don't think we'll ever see. I played VR for the first time at your house with sensors strewn around.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever gonna see that again. I don't think
Man,
we're ever.
what
It's
year was that, dude?
a long time
That
ago.
4 years ago, 5 years ago already now?
It was unfortunate Yeah, it was.
It was probably more. It was probably more. Probably it had to be like 6 years, right?
Um. Well,
I was probably right after working at Comcast.
yeah, yeah,
It had to be
yeah,
at least 5 years
yeah,
ago. Holy shit. Yeah. Well, the Quest 2 is awesome. All
yeah,
right. Let's get into what we're playing and let's just go back and forth here so I don't talk
yeah.
the entire time and then you talk the entire time.
Works for me.
So I guess I'll just start off. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was playing this before I left to Israel. I do plan on playing it again. And I'm probably gonna beat it again, but I'm gonna buy the DLC. I didn't purchase the DLC yet, but that is my goal. I love that game still. I know you haven't played it yet. I
No.
don't know if it's actually coming to PC.
Yeah, I thought it would have been up by now.
But I assume that when God of War comes out, you'll be getting a PS5 or PS4 Pro,
5.
right?
5.
Okay. So I would hope that around that time you get to play Final Fantasy VII. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
I keep talking about it, but I'm going to probably beat it again. All right. What about you, Ben?
So Immortals Phoenix Rising is a game I got into. It's a game I've been meaning to play for a while. It's like an action RPG open world Ubisoft the game. It's very similar to Breath of the Wild. Open world Phoenix, it's the name of the protagonist, and she's going around dungeons. She's got wings, which are the equivalent of the hang glider. Climb anywhere with the stamina meter, so you can climb on anything you come across. You can climb on. Very tight combo-based combat, parries, dodges, the stuff you come to expect. Giant boss battles.
Is it a little bit more like Assassin's Creed in the gameplay, like the actual fighting mechanics, or is it straight up Breath of the Wild?
Yeah. It's more like Assassin's Creed, closer to Assassin's Creed, I'd say. It's very much more arcadey than Assassin's Creed, I would say.
Okay.
Especially with the way healing works and stuff like that.
That actually sounds pretty good, though.
It's a fun game. You get power-ups, you go in the dungeons, you go to your central, it's all the Greek mythology themed. So you go to your central cathedral and upgrade your stamina or upgrade your strength and upgrade your speed, like all kinds of stuff. And every time you find a new power, it's related to one of the gods. Like you'll find Icarus's wings is how you fly, or I think it's Hermes' boots, and that's how you run real fast. And that's how the game's going. I fell out of it when some other stuff came along, but I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna beat it. It's just, I feel like it's gonna take me like 60, 70 hours to get through this damn game.
Well, it seems to me like it's a game with a really fun gameplay loop, but the story will not sustain.
The story's very basic. The chosen one kind of thing. She's a regular soldier, and she's the one that's got all this power because she was able to do something with Zeus's lightning, or I wasn't really paying too close attention, but it seems like it's going for like that laugh out loud approach. It's not hitting all the time, but it is humorous.
Okay. Yeah. I heard it compared to Disney, like in some respect, like the humor.
No, there's some stuff that even Disney wouldn't put in there relating to certain gods and people back in those days.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, enough said. Okay. Yeah. So is that a game you'd recommend for people? I say.
Yeah, I told you to play it.
Yeah. And there is a demo for Switch.
Yeah, I wouldn't right now, as old as it is, you can probably get it for like $25. It's well worth that. You'll get your money's worth.
I probably would wait even longer to play it. Honestly, to me, it's like
I got it on sale. I got it on sale. I accidentally bought it twice. I didn't realize I owned it. Yeah, I must have bought it on the Ubi store during a sale, and then I bought it on the Epic Game Store where they had like a crazy sale. So yeah, I forgot.
I had two versions of it.
I have two copies of it.
Can you sell me one of them? Is it worth it?
Nah, I can't. I can't give you a copy.
Honestly, I probably won't even play it.
No.
I like want to buy it just to hoard it.
Yeah, I bought it with one of those free coupons that Epic Game Store was given, but
yeah,
it wasn't free. Yeah,
the amount of free stuff that Epic has given me is like absolutely insane.
Yeah, free games every day.
It's crazy how much free game. Like, dude, my game library is up to like I have no idea. Like all of the apps that I have, like I have an insane game library, and I have not played all those games. Like,
yeah,
I'm like 50% of the games that I own I've actually played.
PC building simulator is free right now, so
I saw that.
You could use the work. You could use the practice.
Thank you. I am rusty. All right, let's move on. Yep. So I mentioned this earlier. So I picked up Skyward Sword before I went to Israel. I was playing it on Switch. I will say it's still enjoyable. Like, I really enjoyed it, especially the beginning. The beginning of the game is good. There's still some minor stuff about it that like annoys me. But a lot of the controller aspects, and I didn't play with motion controls at all. Right. I played all. Yeah, I'm very happy. I don't have to play with motion controls. Having said that, it does take away from some of the game's like nuanced moments, and this is brought up in reviews as well. It's like just some of the boss fights and stuff, and some of the fighting is a little more interesting with the motion controls. But I had no interest in playing the motion controls. Right. It's a pretty flawed game, a very charming game, and I like a lot of things about it. But also it has this like kind of repetitive loop, and then like it just felt more dated than like some older games that I've been playing as well. It's just something about it just throws me off. I don't know if I'm going to go back and beat it. I actually never even beat the game. I played it twice to the point that I'm at now, like a little bit further. So I put a lot of time into it. And overall, I probably put over 100 hours into the game, but I never beat it, and I never felt like I really needed to.
There's so many games available. If you get to force yourself, I mean, that's not fun.
Yeah,
that's just work.
There's just better games.
Yeah.
And there's better Zelda games now. So I would recommend it if you've never played it before and you're a big Zelda fan. Or even like a casual Zelda fan, but I wouldn't say if you're trying to get into Zelda, this is not your first entry into it. You're not gonna be like, oh, this is the game that just get Breath of the Wild. Honestly, you're better off that. And when they finally release Wind Waker, the more I play Skyward Sword, the more I realize that Wind Waker is by far. It was probably better than Ocarina of Time, which is I guess my favorite.
Okay.
But Wind Waker overall, just from the structure of the game, the tone of the game, the variation in missions and islands. It's a game that if they modernize it, even beyond what they did for the Wii U, it can absolutely crush it on Switch. And I think they're holding back on it.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely ready to go.
Yeah, for what it maybe
Has to
because
be.
they're worried about Breath of the Wild being delayed again. And
Mm.
they'll be like, oh, well, here's
Yeah.
Wind Waker
I mean, they can
Switch.
put it out next year, even if Breath of the Wild is late, like fall. Put it out in March or February.
Yes.
Like, get some people some Zelda.
Well, they already ported it to Wii U. They
Yeah.
modernized it. They upscaled it. They
It runs
up-resed it
it runs
already.
on PC at like 4K, 60, beautiful, up-resed.
That's amazing. But it is a game that like I would love to see them adjust it even a little bit more because it can be one of the best games on Switch easily. And I started with Skyward Sword, but it's like Skyward Sword came after, and Wind Waker is still the superior game. And it's funny because it didn't seem like it was going to be when I played it years ago, and that's the game I wish I had. I probably would have beaten it again. And it has a great twist in it too. It's far superior game. All right. This is a big one. This is a more topical game. So Ben, you get into your next one.
All right, Deathloop. All right. So I texted you when I first started playing it, and I'm like, it's not really hitting for me. Fun, shooting's great. I loved that. I loved Dishonored 2. Arcane knows how to make games. I love Prey, but at the beginning it just wasn't hitting for me. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was because I was doing the same things over and over again because at a certain point, I don't think this is a spoiler to say, eventually you start to figure out how to carry things over so you're not starting from scratch every loop. But up until that point, I had to go to the same place, get the same gun, do the same stuff over and over again. So I had my silenced whatever so I could move around without getting heard every time I made whatever. And then it started to click for me over and over. I didn't know if I was going to play it. And then I started thinking about it. I started, like, when I wasn't playing, I was like, what should I do on my next loop? Like, how am I going to get this done? Like, where should I go? Started to get more powers. Once I started getting the powers, I started not like there would be some runs where I just wouldn't even care. I was just so powerful. I would just fly through the level. Didn't care if anybody saw me, if I had certain things equipped on me, and running through and knocking people around. The AI is not great, but like we talked about, it's not supposed to be. And the AI is there to just kind of keep you in check so you don't just go crazy. But I never, like, if I die in that game, it's because I screwed up, because I like got overconfident or whatever. Very rarely will you die from the AI being better than you. So
do you think that was intentional?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to play it, especially in the beginning, because nothing changed. Like, the conceit of the game is that that everyone is going through the same day over and over again. And you can go morning, noon, afternoon, and evening are the phases you can go through. And the object of the game at the very end is you need to kill these 7 targets to accomplish the goal that the main character has set out. It's required that these 7 people, and their life is terminated. And every time period, like morning, you go into the level, you pick one of 4 areas to go into, and time doesn't move while you're in there. So it's not like you only have 20 minutes to get through this level and then it's afternoon or whatever. You're in that level, you can do whatever you want. And then when you leave, it advances to afternoon or to noon or to evening. And at a certain point, you figure out how to carry things over to, at the end of evening, you wake up on the beach, you start your day over, and only you and you're not the only one that carries your memory through. I'll just say that. But most of the people on that loop and that island think it's still the first day. And so they're always in the same place. They're always doing the same things unless you alter them. So if you do something in the morning in one place, it could alter the afternoon in another place, depending on what you do. So if a character is supposed to be in one place and you get rid of their reason for being there, then they won't be there when you go into that next place. So you're kind of setting up the dominoes. And I'm at the point of the game where I have all the dominoes set up. I have the powers that I need. I've got the weapons that I need. All my power ups. I'm ready to roll. I know where everyone's going to be. I know how to put everyone where I want them to be. And that's where I stopped. So I'm probably about an hour from beating the game, I think. Um, it's awesome. It's so good. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun. I love this game. I can't recommend it enough now.
I'll be honest with you, as you're explaining, I'm like, this seems like a game I want to play.
It's so good. It's so good. The shooting is tight. The powers make sense. Gameplay is great. The writing, I love the back and forth between the main character and the female character. I don't really get into their dynamic too much because some of the writing is great. The back and forth, it's believable. The dialogue's believable, at least.
How many hours does it take to beat this thing? You know?
Oh, now let's see. What am I at? What's my Steam counter got me at? And this is definitely hours played because I haven't paused or done anything. I'm at 17 hours. So not a very long game.
It's great though. I love a good 20-hour game.
Yeah, like 17 hours. And how many times have I'm playing the same 4 levels over and over. Like I'm going through the same 4 levels over and over again. But they're different depending on what time of day you're in. So, one place is called Updam. Updam in the morning is very different than Updam at night. Things change, and anything I do in another region could affect that. If somebody who's supposed to go to like a party or whatever doesn't show up, it could alter the behavior of the people who do show up to the party. Then they're going to wonder where this person is. So if I'm expecting, a person to be in a place because the party's there and I got rid of one of their guests that they're expecting to meet, then they may alter their behavior. But it is all predictable. You know how it's going to go every time. If you do specific things, you start to figure out how it's going to go. It will never change.
It kind of sounds like Majora's Mask a little bit.
Yeah, now I never played Majora's Mask, but I have heard that.
Okay.
That reference. Maybe.
Yeah, because it all takes, it's like that same cycle, and you see the same people running by you, and then you could change that trajectory of that person. It's probably not exactly the same.
Yeah, I've likened it more to like Hitman, the modern Hitman series, more not so much in real time, but you leave a door open so the person who's curious about that door maybe decides to avoid that and goes another way, but they're going to do that because you played through that level before, so you're waiting in the back room and so
it sounds cool, man. And the
awesome
gameplay the gameplay itself does look very impressive.
Very
it looks
solid.
Looks like it takes the best of like kind of BioShock and Dishonored.
Yeah, if you played Dishonored, a lot of the powers are even duplicated from Dishonored to Deathloop.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm at the point now where I don't care if anybody knows I'm there or sees me or I just fly through the levels. I use my powers. Boom, 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 boom. I've got, I got all kinds of stuff. And
Dishonored for me was great. It was too stealthy for me.
I get that. This is stealthily probably for like 8 hours.
Okay. But I like that too. I mean, I like some stealth. I've grown more accustomed to stealth, but at a certain point I just get like, actually I'll come up with my next game. So yeah, anything else to say on it?
No, great game. Highly recommend it. I bought it straight up retail, and even if I finish it in the next hour, more than got my money's worth for it. So.
I will probably wait till it drops a little bit more in price, but
it'll drop.
I'll play. Yeah, I think it'll probably sold majority of the copies that it sold. Let's have some kind of hidden DLC thing that they're gonna do, which I
don't know. And if you wait till next year, it'll be on Game Pass. So
yeah, that too. All right, so my next game, and again, I have not completed this game, but I went out and purchased Death Stranding. I am playing the director's cut. What I did is I bought the PS4 version for $15, and then I paid the $10 upgrade. And normally the director's cut for PS5 is $50.
Right.
So it just shows you how screwed up these pricing models are, where I can just completely ignore the the digital version and pay half the price by buying the PS4 version. But at least the developers get $10 for what I paid for the upgrade. So I assume that's why they do it that way.
$7. Yeah.
Or whatever, right? Yeah, like 30% cut. So goes to the publisher. So okay, this is a game that I've avoided for quite a bit. Now I do like Kojima. I played Metal Gear Solid 5. I didn't beat it, but I did put like I don't know, probably 30 hours into the game. Um, I get I get worn out of open world games pretty easily. Like
Mm,
I just hate doing the same fucking things over and over again. So this game, I was very worried about that I would find it boring. Um, and I just kept listening to Sacred Symbols, and then I listened to a guy called Skill Up. He's actually friends with Chris Raygun as well. I
mm.
don't know if you know him, he's an Australian guy. His videos are fucking amazing. His reviews and his
Never heard of him.
I would Ben honestly, I would highly recommend. I've been like just watching his content.
Hmm.
I don't agree with 100% of his opinions, but he makes great videos. He's really good and he's very entertaining to listen to. But I watched his review of the game and he like was I just kept hearing like certain people like are like, oh yeah, whatever, it's just a delivery simulator, it's stupid.
Hmm.
And then every now and then I hear like, this is my game of the year. Like this game is amazing. So I'm like, all right, I gotta find out what's so amazing about this game. So I will say, starting to play the game in the beginning, like it got me hard. I started playing it at like 10:30 at night and I was up till 2 a.m.
Oh,
on a work night.
yeah, that's
I
good.
I could not put it down. The now I'm
What
in a
about it? It got you hooked.
so I'm in a point now where I'm kind of in the open world
Hmm.
portion of it. And it's getting a little redundant, but I'm also doing side quests.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that I can just start skipping all that shit and start going straight toward just like the main deliveries.
Yeah.
So one, the cinematics of this game are, I would say, on par with The Last of Us. Like
Okay.
just the tone of the fucking like it is such an intriguing world that is
Mm.
built. Like it is fascinating, and you almost can't help yourself being like, I need to know why the things are the way they are here. Like, why are they doing what they're doing? Like, what the hell happened here? Like,
Huh.
it's
Yeah.
such
Like what
like
what happened in the world? Like that kind of thing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
there's such an one. The game itself is gorgeous, like
Mm.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like it looks stunning. The game
Horizon
looks
Zero Dawn
stunning.
engine.
Yes, it
Hmm.
looks stunning. It just I wouldn't say as stunning as Zero Dawn because it's kind of meant to be a little more mundane, like kind
Yeah.
of like not Edge of Tomorrow. What's the other Tom Cruise movie he did right afterwards? You know where he's driving the I don't want to give the spoiler to
Oh,
the movie.
Oblivion.
Oblivion, thank
Yeah.
you. It has a little bit of that tone, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of this like monotone, like kind of sad, but not really
Yeah.
sad. And I just kind of it hit me like I just so curious what was happening, and just the pace of the beginning was so good. Now, like the mechanics, pretty solid. And I was like, this is kind of fun. I
Yeah.
was like walking the world and like it is designed in a way where there are enough things that concern you that it's not like when you're walking around this world, you're not thinking. You are like your brain is moving. Like
Mm.
you're worried about traversal. The social element is fucking super interesting
Mm.
because you're going through a really rough time and then somebody leaves you a fucking ladder, you
Yeah.
know, and you're like, holy shit, like you could tell that person went through the exact same thing you did
Yeah.
and then put a ladder there. And he's like, and they, because you can choose to leave things or not.
Right.
And they choose to leave. Like people obviously do it on purpose to help
Mm.
each other out. So all of a sudden you start seeing the people's names and you start building a connection with somebody you never even see. And I'm like, thank you, Nick Easton. I'm like, you've helped me out like several times already. And I without giving any spoilers, it actually is built into the story. Like they're hinting, and I'm not that far enough into the story, that it actually makes sense why you find random objects
Okay.
in the world.
Hmm.
And without giving much away, I mean, like the rain in it is called Timefall. So I don't know if that gives any hints to you.
Mm.
So you're doing a bunch of these deliveries, the BTs, but it is very freaky experience. It's like it's kind of like it's not a horror game by any stretch, but there's a lot of uncomfortable moments, a lot of like trudgery and like like a lot of moments where you barely make it through. Like I actually just was playing before we went on, and I was finishing like kind of a side delivery, and I put too much on my pack, and I'm like carrying a lot, and he's getting tired, you
Right.
know, and I'm like trudging through, and then I hit a BT, and I hit it bad, and it pulled all of my shit off, and you have to like shake them off, and I'm running, and there's like all this like essentially like it looks like oil, right? Everywhere, and this monster's like coming out of everywhere, and you're like running, and I'm out of stamina, and I finally like skip out of there, and he just like I get out, and I just like collapse to the ground, but I don't die. He's just like, oh my god. You're like, it's like that's the best way to explain that game. It's like the little mundane things are done so well that they're not mundane. Like the hiking in it is an experience. And like you can be a badass in it too. I thought I had to like sneak around. I've gotten caught by terrorists, but I like beat the shit out of them. Like with no weapons. They don't have killing weapons. At this point, nothing can kill. I think that introduced later.
Yeah.
But
especially
you can,
in
like,
the enhanced edition.
yeah. So I didn't get to the point with vehicles yet. There's some really cool technology stuff I haven't gotten to yet. But I am very fascinated with the story, the baby on your chest. There's something in there. Just like the one thing, the downside I will say is the game is a little bloated. And this is what bothered me with Metal Gear Solid 5. You know, they get so like, oh, here's another email you got, and here's another note, and here's another it's like I don't want to sit there and just read. It's like, give it to me, you know, make it more impactful when you do give me the info. But it's a very deep universe. I don't know if you should jump to it now because I know you played some other stuff.
Yeah.
But if you find it on sale at like a cheap price, and I know you'll probably play it on PC.
Yeah.
Ben, I'll be honest with you, if you pay like $20 for it and you even play it for 10 hours, you'd be like, that was worth it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. It's just, you know.
And you know me, if it's not a killing game, I'm bored. And I did not experience this so far. And I keep going back to it every day.
Yeah, I think I'll get around to it. I'm not going to be in any rush to get to it, but I'm not opposed to playing it.
I was just like desperately.
It runs very well on PC.
Yeah, I honestly think you should up it on your priority list because I think you will enjoy it more than you think you will. Because I did not expect dude, the music in this game, like some of the moments, like the way it opens up, like the music when it kicks in, it's like I'm waiting for, and I know there's more of these moments in the game, and that's why I'm kind of like, all right, I got to stop doing so many side missions. Because they almost don't seem that necessary all the time, but you can just keep getting rewards or whatever. But like I want more of the big story moments because they're very, very good. Very good. All right. Okay. That was long. But yeah, check out Death Stranding for anybody who's listening, and definitely get the director's cut. You were right. Remember I asked you and you're like, dude, just pay the extra for no regrets already.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What's next on your list?
So I'm gonna finish up with. I had some other stuff, but we're running long like usual. So I'm gonna finish on the Halo Infinite beta that I put.
I'll add all my stuff into one quick thing.
Halo Infinite beta. I put a couple hours into it, not crazy amount. Jumped in just to see if it was what I expected it to be, and yeah, it absolutely was. So
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
My history with Halo, multiplayer in particular, Halo 2 back in the day was my jam. That was back when everyone played Halo. Like we had Mark, we had Alon, like all you and you, like we were all playing Halo 2 back in the day. And I still remember the maps. I still remember some of the matches that we even played that were like we had 8 people lobbying.
I definitely remember those matches and getting my ass kicked a lot.
Halo 3, I played a little bit of multiplayer, but that's about when I started falling off of the multiplayer train of all games was around that time. But Halo 2, I was huge in that multiplayer. I used to watch all the Blood Gulch YouTube videos back on Machinima, and this is like a return to old school Halo form. I played a little Halo 4 as well, Big Team Battle, and their Spartan Ops, I think it was called back then, where there was like a single player story within the Halo 4 multiplayer.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and they're doing something similar in Halo Infinite. Cause like a callback, but feels very Halo 2, very Halo 4, especially with the big team battle stuff. Huge open maps. They did smart decision making with the They dropped the pre-made loadouts for the most part. All the weapons are found on the map. Vehicles drop in at a sporadic rate. It's not like you start with tanks. You don't start with the Banshees flying around. As the match goes on, they'll introduce a Banshee, or when it's capture the flag and it's 2 and 2, then the tanks drop in, and each side gets a tank at the same time. They did some cool stuff with the capture the flag, where the flag's not always going to spawn in the same place. So, back in Halo 2 days, you'd get into a loop where like somebody would be returning the flag, and I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go wait at their base. So as soon as you capture the flag, I'm just going to grab it again. But that doesn't happen anymore, because now the flag will move around to different positions, and they're harder to get to each time. Vehicles feel great. Guns feel great. Matchmaking was solid. This beta was against actual humans, as opposed to the first one that was against bots. But it's Halo, man. It feels awesome. It's gonna be free to play, which is huge. I think they're gonna have a crazy player count when this comes out. I'll probably actually play multiplayer for the first time in a long time.
I have a feeling it's gonna take over the internet when the game comes out.
It's gonna be great. It feels so solid.
I have yet to hear a single bad review of the multiplayer.
Yeah, they got rid of all those powers. They got rid of like the boost dashing and the flying.
I heard the grappling hook actually works really well. It's not like.
Yeah, I didn't really play with it too much. Okay. I play with it against like bots in my training area, so I don't really. It's whatever. But it got into some crazy battles where we'd be chasing down a guy with a flag. I'd be on the back of a warthog trying to gun them down while the other team would be trying to take us out. And it felt like with Halo 2 again. Blood Gulch.
I have a feeling that this game is going to be pretty disruptive.
Oh yeah, to free to play.
It's not just that; it's going to be the first time in a long time that Xbox is going to be associated with Halo again.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to be the face of the brand again. And
Halo 5 was not good.
Right.
I liked it more
I
than
I didn't even have interest in playing it.
Halo 4 was awesome. I love Halo 4 and Halo, but the problem with Halo 5.
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like Halo 3.
Well, the problem with Halo 5 was they advertised it to be one game, and it was not that game.
Yeah. Well.
So it was false advertising.
They were trying to trick you, right?
Sure. Like you thought you'd be hunting down Master Chief.
Yeah.
Master Chief was going rogue, doing all the stuff, but it wasn't that.
At the end of the day, you're just Master Chief.
At the end of the day, Locke and Master Chief meet up. Master Chief's like, yeah, I'm doing this for a good reason. And Locke's like, cool, I'm with you. And like, that was it.
And then they fuck, and then,
basically, yeah.
When is the game launch again?
21st of December.
Okay, right. Yeah, they delayed it to the end of the year.
Yeah.
Man, everybody's gonna be playing this over Christmas.
I'm sorry, December 8th.
Yeah, they wanted to come out before Christmas. No co-op, right? No single player co-op.
At launch, you're gonna get single player and you're gonna get multiplayer.
Okay,
that's all you're getting at launch.
Honestly, I think GTA proved that this can be done. You know what I mean?
I think it's a mistake to launch without co-op, but
yeah, but don't you think co-op is now a reason to replay it when it comes to like, I played it through myself?
People have been playing co-op together through Halo.
I know.
For the last 20 years, 15 years. Like it comes out and you and your friends stay up all night, play Halo Legendary co-op, and you can't do that now.
I think I'm gonna probably break my trial for Game Pass in December when it comes out, which I think is what they anticipate.
Yep.
Is that people are gonna go straight to Game Pass and be like, well, time to try Halo.
Yep.
Why am I gonna pay full price when I can just try Big Game Pass? Oh my god, I get all these games with it too.
Yeah.
Why am I not paying for this?
Cheap. Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Halo. It actually makes me want to rewatch that show.
Forward Unto
with
Dawn.
the kid. Yes.
Yep. It's a great show. Again, that was another thing leading up to like Halo 4, Halo 5.
Yes.
I think it was leading up to Halo 4 because the ship in that show, the Infinity, I think, was the ship that was in Halo 4.
Okay, yeah. But, and then you finally see Master Chief in it.
At the very last episode.
Yeah, and he rescues them.
It was a great series.
Fucking dope.
Yeah.
Fucking dope. I'm ready for Halo to be relevant again. Like really.
I listened to the podcasts and stuff leading up to Halo 5, like the Seek the Truth Like
Yeah,
it was
but
about
then
civilian broadcasts and
boom,
nothing. Yeah,
it's like
meant nothing.
it's like having this girl that you think is like
Okay,
it's really
where are we
hot,
going with it? Yeah.
and then you end up sleeping with her, and it's just like the worst. And you're
Is
just
that
like,
what it's
what
like?
just happened? You're like, am I shouldn't even make this joke. I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop.
I'm sure many of us had that reaction with me.
Yeah, right. All right. So again, Ben shut down his or cut down his list. I'm just gonna mention briefly. I was playing KOTOR. I was playing KOTOR on Mac. That game is fucking amazing. Still, I don't know how to get my cloud save over to my PC because I want to play it on PC now. So I think I'm kind of screwed because I played on Mac. So I don't think the cloud save works that way. So I'm pretty sure I'm screwed, and I don't feel like starting the game from the beginning.
You
so
might be able to import it manually. I mean, it would like the file's probably the same.
Yeah, potentially. So maybe I'll look into that. So I don't want to start from scratch, but that game is incredible, and I think the remake. Oh my god, I'm so excited, and it's coming out for Switch. So I actually might just wait and just buy it for Switch.
The remake is not coming out for Switch.
No, not the remake, but they're releasing it again on Switch.
Yeah, just regular code
with widescreen though.
Yes.
So that is a benefit. And it's only $20. So I might just play it on Switch, honestly, when it comes out. So KOTOR is amazing. If you haven't played it, make sure you absolutely play it again. It still holds up. I don't know how it does, but it still does. It got me interested in playing older games. So I bought Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age for Switch. I have not played it yet. I got a great deal on it, so that's why I purchased it. We got it for $20, a $50 game. So I haven't played it. I don't know if I will soon, but it's one of those things I'm keeping in my back pocket, and that's why I got the new Switch. So like next time I go somewhere, I'll replay Final Fantasy 12. I played it back in the day. I never finished it, but the reviews are that they tweaked a lot of the stuff that are annoying about it. And it was a good game back then, so I expect that I'll enjoy it. I just love fucking RPGs with parties. Like that's what I realized. There's party RPGs, leveling up system, collecting. And then what ended up happening is that I came home and started playing Dragon Age Inquisition before Death Stranding. So just like looking for an RPG. Inquisition's a really good game, but there is definitely something wrong with it. These open world maps are a fucking mistake. They are bloated. They're too big. You just go on fetch quests all fucking day. And like, give me games that are, like I said, Final Fantasy VII is much more linear, and I could not get enough of that game. I think the fine balance is God of War or like Tomb Raider, where it's like semi-open world.
Right.
But or actually, you haven't played Ghost of Tsushima yet. You're gonna absolutely love that game. These humongous maps, there's nothing to rave about there. Like, I don't give a fuck how big your map is. If I'm doing the same shit over and over again, you're gonna lose me. So stop playing all that. And then I did buy FIFA 21 for the Switch, like I said earlier. It's awesome to have FIFA Mobile, but this is what I was talking about, the Steam Deck. I can have FIFA 22, the real one, on the Steam Deck. And you compare that to the Switch version, and it's absolute bullshit. But it is nice to have season mode, and I was just desperate to play games. I missed my PS5 like crazy when I was in Israel. That's the one thing for sure is I missed my PS5 and I missed my gaming PC. And when I was limited to just Switch, I realized how little amount of games I really want to play on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for me. Let's get into game recommendations. Ben, you want to go first? I'll go second.
Sure. My game's a little weird, but it's a PC only game. It's called Quadrilateral Cowboy.
I have not heard of this.
Not many people would have.
I gotta look this up.
It's very specific to something that would interest me. Yeah, look it up because you're actually going to find it probably interesting. So it's kind of like a hacking game. It's first person, and you don't have any guns or anything in it. What you do have is
VR.
No, it's a PC game. What you do have is a laptop that can hack into any of the technology that's in these levels. So, for example, if you come to a locked door, you can use the laptop to hack the door. But it's not so simple as clicking hack and do it. There is a programming language in the game that you need to learn. So it's been a while since I played the game, but hypothetically, it would be like, open door number 1 equals 10 seconds. And when you hit that command, that door number 1 will open for 10 seconds.
This is a brilliant way to teach you how to code, by the way, if they use the real coding language.
Or and then you can have open door number 1, 10 seconds, wait 5 seconds, turn off laser 1 or whatever. And then you would
if else statements.
Yes. So if you get your if then statements or your if else statements or your wait statements and all these loops together, and you program it, you can hit enter, the door will open, you'll walk through, the lasers will turn off as you're walking through them. The camera will shut off right before you get into view of it. And there's different rules, like a door can't be open for more than this door can't be open for more than 3 seconds. Or if that camera's off for more than 6 seconds, it'll set off an alarm. So you got to figure out how you're going to do it.
I feel like this is the way your brain works naturally, by the way.
So like you can do stuff like that where like that camera can be off for 6 seconds and it's going to take you 4 seconds to get through all of these. So you're not going to have time to set your laptop up to turn it off. So you got to set it in your initial statement to turn that camera off in 18 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. So then you walk through and right before you get to it, if you set it up right, it'll kill off. And then you've got 5 seconds to get to the next door, which you have already pre-programmed to open in those 5 seconds.
It's like super, it's almost like being like a bank robber or whatever. It's like swordfish.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
And you program these statements out and it's cool when it all comes together. It's just like Deathloop where you're setting up the dominoes. And when you get the right combination of how much time things can be off, and you can do it certain different ways. There's not a single solution to each.
Very clever
level. Yep. Very cool game. A very, very indie game. A game I haven't played in a while.
I'll be honest with you. Like they should turn that into like teaching people how to code. Like
so when I took my Java classes, I made sure to recommend it to my teacher because it's a great way to introduce people to very, very basic rules of coding.
Sure. Yeah, like it sounds like they kind of took coding and made it very basic so it's fun. Mm-hmm. But like you could literally build something like this that is not as fun because it could be more complicated. They're always trying to do educational software. And very interesting idea. Great recommendation, dude.
Yeah, cool game.
I've never heard of that, so that's cool. I feel like I got to learn a little bit more about that. There is somebody I was working with that I've talked about on the podcast that works in educational games. And seems like a really cool concept for them. All right. So my recommendation is something we mentioned earlier. Resident Evil 4 is coming out for the Oculus Quest 2. And I think we probably brought this up on the podcast at one of the other episodes, but it is my favorite Resident Evil game. I played some of the other ones. I haven't played as much as any, but that game like opened me up in a Resident Evil. It wanted to open me up with the idea that I liked games that were a little creepy. I guess I don't really want to call it a horror game. I guess there's scary moments in it.
Yeah.
But that game's just fucking cool. I remember it got like shit on by classic fans because you were more of an action star in the game. You're like less vulnerable.
It's also GameCube only at release.
Yeah. Now the best version of it, in my opinion, was on the Wii. When it came out on the Wii, because just like that, and it makes complete sense why it's coming to VR, because the system that they had set up with that laser dot sight or whatever, and the engine itself is like perfect for VR in my opinion. So it makes a lot of sense. Maybe play it in VR as your first time. It's probably going to be pretty freaky in VR. But if you have an opportunity to play it on PS5 or PS4, I would recommend it. I imagine the game still holds up to a certain degree. It's got good collecting. The elements of the game where you do have to take care of, I forget her name. We have like the entire game is essentially like an escort mission.
Yeah.
But it was the first time escort missions weren't annoying. I remember that was like the big thing about it. It is because he's not really that vulnerable in the game. She is. So it kind of balances that out. Like it creates consequence to a badass character. So I recommend Resident Evil 4. I don't know when that remake is coming out. It probably is going to be delayed, right?
Oh, the remake. I think
the remake, because it got delayed because I think they scrapped the initial take and that they started from scratch. So probably another 2 years is my guess. But that's a day one purchase for me when that game is remade. So Resident Evil 4, if you've never played it, make sure to fucking play it.
Great
All
game.
right. We are calling it. Ben,
Yep.
anything else you want to say before we end?
Oh, yet again, we said we're gonna do an hour. We get 90 minutes.
And we did 90 minutes.
Well, it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get back into the rhythm of things, get these back on. Get these back up for everybody.
We will continue to try to do these weekly. And we'll start doing the news thing again because I think that's cool. We just
too much news happened.
Too much news and didn't even know where to start, honestly. But I guess we'll start from here on out now.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please make sure to like, comment, and share. Please share this if you can. It's a humongous help to us, especially if it's like on Reddit, because you're not allowed to share your own stuff anywhere because apparently that's like a sin nowadays. So yeah, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Please subscribe. We're going to keep this going. If there's any requests or anything, or people are listening to us, I know we have some listeners, small amount of people, but if you guys want anything in particular discussed, put it in there. We'll try to make that happen.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Ben. Good talking to you again. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And remember to always play on